for me, like, to be back to my roots in a new property, an unpressured property with a ton of deer. The landowner said there's deer everywhere. What's up, everybody? Back at it again. It is Wednesday, October 4th, and I still haven't really hunted. The temps have been up in the mid and upper 80s. I think yesterday was almost 89 degrees in October. So unbelievable. So really have just decided to take a different approach to hunting this farm this year, staying out of here, not putting much pressure on it. And I really don't have a deer to chase. I have two blurry pictures of what I think is at least a 10 point, if not a 12 point, but that's it. He hasn't come back. So he either was here just that one night cruising around, or he's done a really good job of staying away anywhere that I have cameras. But no definite intel on a specific target buck that I want to hunt. So there's been no sense to come out here and pressure this farm like I have in the past couple of years, early season. So staying out of here. Coming out today, as you can see, I'm standing below the tower. We're getting ready to install the pop-up blind. And I know I make this video every year, but it's a really cool way that I figured out how to, one, keep my blind from blowing off the tower, and two, keep it from getting stolen during the season if I were to have any trespassers come out here. So hopefully you hang around for that. We're going to bush hog the food plot today, get that nice and cut down, mow some other additional lanes in that I want mowed in, fill all the feeders. I dropped 150 pounds of corn over here on that fence post directly across from that other blind that I set up. That's all gone. So I think, 5 days, 150 pounds of corn that I put on the ground completely devoured. So I'm gonna freshen all that up today. We'll just get things ramped up here for this weekend. Guys, this weekend, it's gonna be down in the 40s for a low, 60s as a high, perfect conditions. So hopefully I got some good intel on these cameras to bring you here at the end of this episode, and we're going to be chasing them deer this weekend. So come along for the ride as I install my pop-up blind, which, yeah, it's getting kind of raggedy. This thing's been out here for years, but it works, and it gives me a good setup, and I definitely get it installed so no one's stealing the damn thing. But hang around for that so you can see what I do there with these transitional strips, and we'll go from there. But like I said, going to get that done, mow this field, fill all the feeders, pull cards, and get ready for Saturday morning. All right, so I'm up here, got the blind popped up. I got the floor zipped in, and then I'm adding these little flooring transitional strips that go in doorways or whatever. You can pick them up at Lowe's. They're aluminum, so they don't rust. So if they get moisture on them or whatever, you're fine. But just screwing those down to that inner liner that really attaches this floor to the blind itself. So just screw that in, and it's got enough pressure across there on enough seams that it's never ripped it before. So this thing has withstood massive windstorms, snow, sleet, rain, everything, every season. I think this is the 4th or 5th season for this particular blind, and it's still here. So prior to this, I had at least one stolen and then one ripped off due to the wind. And since I started doing this with this transitional strips, again, these aluminum strips, you can get them at Lowe's, Home Depot, whatever. Just put them on the inside of that material, screw them down to your decking, and this thing's here for the season. So we'll finish this up, and then we'll get to mowing. All right, so as you can see, I got the blind all set up, and again, on this tower that I built, it's been here for at least 6-7 years, and sits 12 foot in the air. It's got a 6x6 deck on top of it. It's anchored down with the big dog leads, like the 4-foot anchor bolts or corkscrew bolts that go down in the ground. And then on all 4 corners, it's got the cable strapping tightened down, so in the worst of winds, this thing can't just blow over while you're sitting up in it 12 foot in the air. But it's got a 12-foot tower on a 6x6 platform with a 5x5 pop-up blind on top. I'm pretty sure it's a Maristep is the one that I use here, but it's got the zip-in flooring. A couple of reasons why that's important. First and foremost, I'm sitting 12 foot in the air. So on those windy days or really cold days, the cold air is not just coming up underneath that decking and making it that much more cold. So it really helps keep that cold air from coming in from underneath. Second, it gives me that additional material that's sewn in or woven into the actual fabric of the blind. And that's what I screw it down with. Another thing that I wanted to talk about were the actual type of screws. I don't just use a Phillips screw. I use a very specific head, driving head screw that I put up there. So the random case that someone is out here and wants to try to take that down, more than likely they're not going to have a screwdriver with them anyway. Even if they had like a multi-tool or Leatherman or something like that, they're not going to have that specific head to be able to take all those screws out. I also screwed down at all the anchor points. Like if you were putting this on the ground, it's got those little D-loops. So I screw into all of those that I can reach. And then with that 5x5 pop-up blind sitting on a 6x6 platform, it gives me 1 foot on the side and around the back to really get up there and maneuver and get all my gear and myself into the blind. But I've been using this for at least 6 years. I'm pretty sure that blind is 4 or 5 years old and does a great job. So we're sitting out here. I'm gonna mow this down today and then fill all these feeders and get ready for this weekend. But just wanted to kind of talk through how I set up my tower blind to prevent it from getting blown over in the heavy winds, and most importantly, getting stolen. So there she is. What's going on, everybody? Back at it again. It is October 6th. It's about 12 o'clock on Friday afternoon. And yeah, I'm excited. A couple reasons, a couple things have really got me excited. First and foremost, the first cold front of October is pushing in here tonight. And it's going to drop down into the 30s, especially where I'm at right now. And that's why I'm really, really excited is, guys, I am back to my roots. This is where I found my passion for hunting. Breckenridge County, Kentucky. My dad, my uncle, other family members, we used to haul down here, brought our campers, and we had deer camp a couple times a year. And probably some of my best hunting memories I've ever had. Unfortunately, everybody kind of, with my passing of my uncle years ago and my dad kind of getting older and not being in the woods, we just kind of lost that deer camp mentality. So it's just been hunting for the most part over the past 25-ish years. I don't know, it's been a long time. But I'm in Breckenridge County. Unfortunately, my grandmother passed away this last week, and we buried her yesterday. And as sad as that was to see her go, I know she's not in any type of pain or suffering anymore. And we also got a great chance to connect with a bunch of family we haven't talked to in years. One of those being the family that I used to go and hunt on their property, or we at least used to stay at their property during hunting camp every year. And they've moved. They got a new tract of land. It's about a 40-something acre tract here. But guys, this 40 acres is really big. Like, it feels really big. It's got a big pond up front, got a running creek in the bottom, tons of transitional bedding areas. It really sets up big for 40 acres. So I was talking to him and he was like, you know what? Come on down, go hunt, do whatever. So I got down here this morning. He kind of took me around, showed me the property lines, kind of gave me some intel on things that he knows how these deer move. So I'm sitting at the entrance on a big, heavy deer trail, and I'm going to dive in here first. So a couple things that I'm looking for on this new piece. Never been here before. Hasn't been hunted in years and years and years. So there's no pressure. And just my goal today is to go in here and do everything that I've done and you all have watched me do at the main farm over the past couple of episodes. Do all of that in one day. Mine is probably the horizontal rub. Haven't really gotten a bunch of great intel on the horizontal rub, but it's probably because, like, I haven't had any big mature deer really move into the area just yet to get on that horizontal rub. So whether or not that was good, use of my time or not, that's still to be determined. But I probably won't do a horizontal rub today, but I've got my Tanks mock scrape. I've got my climber. I've got some bait. I've got my rack 1, to really juice up that corn pile so these deer find it quick, because I'm hunting this tomorrow. So we've got the first major cold front of the season coming in tonight. New property, unpressured, first sit. If that don't sound like a recipe for success, I don't know what is. So I'm going to bomb in here today. My goal is to find hopefully a community scrape. And then within that community scrape, kind of start formalizing a plan of how I want to set up and hunt that scrape with the entrance and exit of how I'm going to get to it. From there, I'm going to pull back about 10-15 yards, put in a couple more mock scrapes to really juice up the area, because I don't want to hunt right over that scrape and get blown out. So pull back from that. Got some bait. We'll obviously be putting some bait out. This is private land. So I'm just going to juice this thing up and be back in here first thing tomorrow morning, about 5 a.m. Come in real early in that cold weather, get set up, and hopefully have some October success here. So just jumped up a deer, pretty big deer, to my right on this little shelf, this little bench. As I was standing here watching two little fawns in this bottom stand up out of their bed, they just kind of stood there and looked at me, didn't know what to do. As I was getting my phone out to record the fawns, this really big deer stood up. I think it's still standing over there. Didn't take long. I'm only about 50 yards into the woods. I've already seen at least 3 deer. I think I found the deer. Found this huge oak tree, acorns everywhere. Look up and there's an old handmade tree stand up in this freaking fork of this tree. By the time I went to get my camera out, 6 deer took off 20 yards in front of me. I mean, I've seen, 15, 20 deer already. And I'm only about 300-400 yards into it. I just hope I didn't mess it all up for tomorrow. I doubt it. They'll be back in here. All right, everybody. So probably about a mile and a half in total walking, getting in here, really figuring this land out. And I wind up coming back to the first flat that I entered on. I'm about 50 to 60 yards from the field edge, kind of sucks down into this point into the back of the field. And then there's this heavy trail running right where I'm standing on it right now. And with that, I'm on this little oak flat, so it's a little bench before it drops back off and then starts heading down into that creek bottom. And these oaks are dropping acorns all through here. I mean, there's just acorns everywhere. I'm looking at them fresh. So they're coming in here eating those acorns. And then I dropped 100 pounds of corn, and then I put the Rack 1 acorn attractant on the corn to help juice that up even further. And then over here behind me, I've got a trophy rock with the Rack 1 acorn attractant just dumped all over top of that. So really just juicing this area up. Like I said, when I came in here, I jumped a deer right over here to my left, and I'm pretty sure it was a buck bedded up on this point over here. I walked over there when I came back around, and I found the bed, so I'm pretty sure that was a buck. And then down here in this bottom, I actually had jumped up 2 fawns. I was standing there watching them whenever I saw this one jump up and kind of take off up the hill. But as I walked around, I was on this little old logging road. There was kind of, again, a bench halfway up the hill before it dropped off into that creek bottom. And I mean, I jumped up deer all the way up through there. First time, they're not really, I don't think they're spooked. They'll all be back here tonight. But I got my stand hung, got it all locked in place. Got a couple more things I need to do there. I need to just run my safety line up. I need to get up there and hang my equipment hanger. So all I have to do is just hike in here, climb up, and sit down and I'm ready to hunt. So really excited about this. I got this stealth cam cell camera. Guys, I've never run a cell camera before, so I had to call Drew. All the other guys use them, but called Drew, said which ones to get, and he's like, man, I don't remember the brand or the name of this one, but he's like, these stealth cams are pretty badass. So got it home, got the app downloaded. It did take quite a few attempts to have the system find. So you just scan the QR code that's on the inside of this and it's behind the battery box. And eventually it picked it up or whatever. And I was able to, you know, set it up and do everything. When I got here today, I ran another diagnostic on it. I changed it to Central Time since I crossed over into Central Time where I'm at here. But got that done. And so I'm going to put this up. And hopefully I'm going to be pointing right on this corn because that's probably where they're probably going to go. So I get the most intel. But I've never used a cell cam because usually I just go out and pull cards. My farms aren't that far away, within 30 minutes. So I'm out there a lot. This one's over an hour away, and so I can't get out here as much. So I wanted, you know, the ability to be able to check my cards without having to drive an hour. And yes, the leaves are falling in front of the camera. So I've got my very first cell camera. So we're going to get that on this tree pointed at the corn, and I'm actually going to put another one, just a regular camera, on this other tree pointed back at the trophy rock. When I walk in, I can just check that other camera. And then I'm going to put a mock scrape out here about 150 yards out on this field edge. There's a nice branch that lays out into the field about the perfect height. Once the leaves start falling off and that limb gets lighter, it'll lift up and it will be the perfect height. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that mock scrape started and then get a camera on that as well. So I'm gonna be running 3 cameras. One is a cell camera, so hopefully I can get that most recent intel prior to coming out here, at least see what's moving and go from there. But guys, I'm excited. New farm, first sit. First cold front in October. Tomorrow morning should be exciting. Stay tuned. I just climbed out of the tree and there's 4 deer 20 yards from here in this bottom on this little bench right below me. I'm pretty sure they're gonna walk right up here. And I'm not hunting, of course. It's 5 a.m. and I'm here, getting ready to walk in, but their dog, I did not make him happy coming in here at 5 o'clock in the morning, and he is sitting at the top of the hill, barking nonstop, so sure that's helping with the deer situation. But we're gonna hike in here. I've got, I don't know, it's probably about 500 yards to the stand. I just checked that cell cam. I got no pictures all night, and there's nothing there now, so let's get after it. Good morning. As you can tell, not feeling great. Got a head cold or something going on here, but it's Sunday, 5:30, see, October 8th, and we are at the main farm, getting ready to head in. Just recap yesterday, basically got skunked. I think just 2 days, one day being in there scouting, setting everything up, just really putting a lot of pressure on the area for that one day on a farm that's not used to hunters being in there. I bumped a lot of deer that first day, and then all night got nothing on my cell cam. And then yesterday morning sat there, didn't see a deer. Yesterday afternoon, right before I walked in, I got an alert on my phone, and I got my first picture from my stealth cam cellular camera. And yeah, it was a doe. Walked in right at about 3 o'clock. Didn't even go to that corn. So right now, with all the acorns and everything that are dropping in the woods, they're just not interested in corn, at least out there. So sat there until dark. Had one doe come in of all directions. She came in downwind. Never blew, but definitely knew something was up and went back the way she came. So got skunked yesterday, but we're at the main farm. We'll let that thing, sit out there. Let those deer find the corn once they want to get on that and kind of get on a pattern on that side of the farm and just start gathering some intel. I put up multiple mock scrapes and cameras. So I think I have, 6, 7 cameras running out on that farm. One of those being a cell camera. So once I start getting some more intel, some updates, I'll head out there if needed. But out here, I should have some good intel now on this farm. I should have some good bucks moving in. If not, that should start happening any day. So gonna hike in here, gonna hunt the food plot this morning up in that tower blind that I just put up the other day. So guys, I'm already tired. I'm not feeling good at all, but I'm not gonna use an excuse. I'm getting out here and we're getting after it. All right, everybody, I gotta be quiet, but I'm in a new spot. I just seen those forward dogs this morning, that was it. So it's 4 o'clock. Went home and got some things done. And I just ran back here. It's about a 600-yard walk from where I parked the truck. But there's a bedding area right in front of me. On the other side of the bedding area, there's a pond. So they'll either transition down this ridge top or in this fire break behind me. My wind's blowing out towards the field. I didn't clean, didn't bump anything, so should be a pretty good sit if they're moving tonight. All right, that's a wrap. And yes, I sat up there and I'm just feeling worse, but it's fine. Pretty exciting night. Had that little 4-point fork horn to come in, and he spent an hour with me. I took the first video of that deer right at 5 o'clock, and he left right at 6 o'clock. So I witnessed him do everything. He gave himself a full-on bath. He done took a nap. He got up, walked right underneath my tree stand, and headed out to that fire break behind me. And a little after that, I don't know, probably about 15, 20 minutes after he walked off and went into the other woods on the other side of that fire break, I heard a buck making a scrape up in that bedding area. And so I was really focused up in that direction. The wind was hitting me in the face from the bedding. It was hitting me in the face. So they were upwind of me. And, that's where I was focusing. I thought either they're going to get on that fire break and come right behind me, give me a perfect 20-yard shot, or they're going to come right down just like that little 4-point did, jump that fence, and be right in my lap. Nothing ever came from up there. Right as it was starting getting in, it was kind of getting dark in the woods, with the canopy. I heard a bunch of ruckus going on up in front of me, and I mean, right behind me, the way that the wind was blowing, and then another one, and then another one, and then I guess they all came out of the other woods, and then they come up the hill, up to that clearing, or up to that area I was at. And yeah, they didn't like that. So I got blown out. And then as I was walking out, literally, I don't know, 15 or more deer went across the field in front of me. Pretty sure there was a buck in the food plot. I mean, there was just deer everywhere. And unfortunately, didn't get a shot at anything tonight. So I'm going to wrap this weekend up. I feel like crap. Hopefully I get feeling better. We're going to keep after it through the week and through the rest of the season. So if you haven't already, get down there and smash that subscribe button. If you like this video, hit that thumbs up. And until next time, guys, wake up and hunt.